Good evening, Jan John here. How do you feel about queues? Personally, I hate them, but they seem to be quite unavoidable, especially if you live in a big city like I do. Nearly everywhere we go, there are lines of people or vehicles which we have to join and wait our turn, and if we are in a hurry it can be very frustrating. Queues at the bank when you want to withdraw or deposit money, at the post office when you want to post a letter, at the bus stop when you are waiting for a bus, at the 7-Eleven when you want to buy some small item, and don't forget at the lunchtime restaurants when you are hungry and you have little time in which to eat. Lunchtimes can perhaps be the most annoying times in regard to waiting, because in the cities people mostly seem to eat at the same time, and of course the restaurants and street vendors have only a limited number of staff and pots and pans, so there is inevitably a line between you and your food. Queues can be avoided though, and I have developed several strategies for achieving this over the years, so let me describe some of them to you. Firstly, if you have to go to the bank, don't go on Monday morning. Definitely not just as the bank is opening, because it will be full of people who, having accumulated cash over the weekend, maybe from their business, are rushing to put it safely in the bank. You should probably also avoid Fridays, which can also be a busy day for banks. Post offices, I would give the same advice. As they are closed on Saturday and Sunday, they tend to be busier on Mondays. And the same can be said of all government offices. So if you have to visit a government office, maybe to renew your driving license, for example, don't do it on a Monday. And also don't do it after a public holiday. So if, for example, Wednesday was a public holiday, don't go to a government office on Thursday. Perhaps the really worst time for queuing is during the morning and evening rush hours, when people are travelling to work and back home again. This is a terrible time to wait for a bus or to drive your car. You are inevitably going to be stuck in some very long lines. So if you can avoid it at all, don't travel during rush hours. In regard to lunchtime eating, I would suggest you buy your food maybe in the morning, perhaps 10 or 11 a.m., and take it to the office with you, rather than going out at lunchtime like everybody else and having to line up. Shopping, generally, there are a few pointers I can give you. Pointers, Pointers. Don't go to the supermarket on Saturdays and Sundays when everybody has their days off and they all want to go shopping. Generally avoid shops at lunchtimes and during rush hours, and try not to shop frequently. Try to do bulk buying, B-U-L-K, and stock up your refrigerator and your food cupboard. One very good way to avoid queuing is to try to spend more time at home, which you can do if you work from home. So this avoids the problem of traveling, waiting at bus stops, going to restaurants, because you can do your own cooking. So there are many advantages of working at home. Furthermore, if you can choose flexible hours, again you can avoid the busiest times of the day. Maybe you can work in the evening or the weekends sometimes, while other people are on holiday, and the things you want to do you can do while they are working. However, if all fails and you find yourself stuck in a queue, how do you deal with this problem? I think the quality we need here is stoicism. Stoicism, S-T-O-I-C-I-S-M. When we discover we are trapped and there is no way out, we have to move into patient mode, and accept our fate. No point in getting angry or frustrated or annoyed with other people. Remember, everybody else will be in the same situation, so it will help everybody if people remain calm, patient and stoic. I have many times seen people getting very angry in queues, and have done so myself on occasion. I remember a few weeks ago I went into a 7-Eleven and there were 5 or 6 people in front of me, and the woman who was being served at the time seemed to be totally oblivious that there was a queue behind her. Oblivious, O-B-L-I-V-I-O-U-S. She was casually chatting with the shop assistant. Then when the seller told her the total she had to pay, she then started rummaging around in her handbag. Rummaging around. R-U-M-M-A-G-I-N-G. But rather than pulling out cash, she pulled out a credit card. I had to wonder why she hadn't already taken the credit card out before that while she was chatting with the seller. I could see the people in front of me beginning to grimace. G-R-I-M-A-C-E. And I thought tempers were going to explode at any moment. Then she went through the whole rigmarole, R-I-G-M-A-R-O-L-E, of swiping the credit card and then signing the slip, which seemed to take an eternity. Then the woman seemed to take an age to slowly and carefully put the credit card back into her bag before she picked up her shopping and left, with not even a glance back at the irate customers behind her. Not even a glance back at the irate customers behind her. I could see that the shop assistant was also under a bit of pressure. She had observed the other customers beginning to get annoyed and was no doubt worried that somebody might complain. But with unflappable calm, unflappable, U-N-F-L-A-P-P-A-B-L-E, nobody complained. Nowadays, if I walk into a 7-Eleven and I see a queue of 5 or 6 people waiting and only one seller, I will skip it, SKYPE and IT, and do my shopping later. I don't usually have to buy anything urgent, so it can wait. So here's today's essay question. In a overpopulated society, we often find we have to wait for many things. Is it better to wait, or should we just cancel our plans? First paragraph, introduction. There are many things we have to do in our lives, such as go to work, do the shopping, visit the dentist or the doctor, and maybe have meetings with friends. Often during these activities we may be delayed in some way because of traffic jams or queues when we are waiting to get a seat in a restaurant or get on a bus, and we usually don't have the choice of cancelling our plans without either being disappointed or causing problems for other people. Paragraph 2. I'm going to support not cancelling plans. If our activities are planned carefully, then we should be able to avoid the worst of the waiting. But if we cannot, we should not cancel our plans because they are important to us. If, for example, I have arranged to meet a friend in a restaurant at 8 p.m. in the evening, but on the way the traffic is really bad, I could telephone them and say, why don't we make it another day? But I think my friend would be quite disappointed, and I think reliability is an important virtue, so cancellation for me is not an option. Sometimes cancellation is practically not an option either. Practically not an option. For example, if you are taking an aeroplane to go on holiday to a foreign country and the flight is delayed by several hours, you can't just walk away and go home. The airline will probably not give you a new ticket for another flight without you paying more money, so you really can't do this. We live in a complicated society where we have many interrelationships with other people, and we can't just cancel our plans willy-nilly, W-I-L-L-Y and N-I-L-L-Y, because other people are relying upon us, and we also have built up our expectations, and we don't want to be disappointed. Third paragraph, saying something in support of cancellation. Sometimes, however, cancellation may be the best option. If, for example, you have planned to go away for the weekend to a coastal town, but when you set off in your car, you encounter a horrendous traffic jam, and suddenly realize this weekend is a long holiday and it's going to take you hours and hours just to get out of Bangkok, then you might decide that it is better to cut your losses, L-O-S-S-E-S, and head back home. Back home you can enjoy a relaxing weekend, hanging around the house, watching TV or doing some gardening. Much better than spending a whole day sitting in a car, wasting your money on oil. Final paragraph. In conclusion, no, it is usually not best to cancel plans, as you have a commitment to yourself and others, but there are rare exceptions where going backwards may be the better option. Good night.